Hello, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is a podcast by my dad and my uncle, and they're still unbelievably talking about music. Quite unbelievable. So I hope you enjoy it as much as we all did. It looks like they're going to start in about 14 seconds.
Welcome to another episode of BG's Broken Records. My name is Bob.
I'm Gare.
Oh my God, Garrett, you said a year and a half ago we got to start doing video.
I did. And, hey, we're here now. That's all that matters.
Slow but sure, baby. Slow but sure.
Ready to roll.
So we are going to be talking with a guy we've known for, 40 years?
Easily
40 years. Huge in the punk scene in Detroit from 1980 on, maybe even 78 on.
Yes.
We reached out to him. He jumped at it. He went through all his old paraphernalia, all his old stuff. He is fired up and ready to go.
Beyond fired up. We lit a fuse that hasn't been lit in 40 years.
Dude, that text thread was hilarious, man.
Oh
it
God.
Just kept coming in and in and in. God bless him for it. Okay, couple things. Bobby Whitlock died. Keyboardist.
Yes.
Kind of a bummer. Keyboardist, Derek and the Dominoes. I think he was in Delaney, Bonnie and Friends. Recorded on George Harrison's. Which one was it? All Things Must Pass album. Great studio musician. That's a bummer.
Dropping like flies. Flies.
Who else went? And we're doing this off the top of our head. Somebody else, Chuck Mangione, did we mention him? I played his album this morning.
I think we did.
Yeah, I think we mentioned Mangione.
The best hat in jazz.
Totally. And a flugelhorn.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what a flugelhorn was until that guy showed up.
Say that 3 times fast.
Flugelhorn. Right. It is German.
Yeah.
Here's a quick thought. I know people are collecting vinyl nowadays, right? Some of us don't have turntables. Oh, no, you got to point the other way. That would be me. Do you know what is probably as collectible as 60s and 70s albums?
40s and 50s albums.
90s albums.
Thank you.
With the advent of the CD.
Oh.
People got away from it, right?
Well, I believe back then with CDs, at least the article I read, Neil Young was one of the first guys that I read that brought up that said CDs is you're not getting the full sound. It's taking it away, cutting off the songs. Like, you remember the natural lead out, lead in?
Yeah. But they're hyper compressed.
Correct.
So Tom Petty can put 71 minutes of music on a CD, but you can't put that on a record. That's a double record.
Right.
So they're now actually re-releasing albums as half-speed masters. So ABC, The Look of Love that I just picked up, 2 records, half speed. Now you don't play it at 15 and 16.875. You still play it at 33 and a third.
Great album, by the way.
Great album. Okay, going back to my original statement, albums in the 90s are tough to get.
Yeah, we're making them.
Original Oasis, original Blur, original Pulp, all this stuff. You know what I just imported, Gare? From the Fatherland?
Oh, good album, Bob.
On vinyl.
Now, I have to ask, I don't need a price, but I can't think they made that many of them, and they're not giving them away.
I paid $100.
Hard to find?
Yeah, the only ones were in Europe.
Okay, yeah. Great album.
But one of the best rock and roll albums ever. Seriously. Don't yawn. I see that.
Everyone's going to see all my yawning now. I might have to go like that.
Don't do that. We've got a couple older items that sold. See, and now I can show the pictures.
Oh, look at that.
A Cramps poster.
Oh, Cramps, great.
3D.
How much?
380 pounds.
Oh, I'd buy that.
Yeah, okay, I would too. Now, here's the other thing. Oh my God, look at this. Classic. The Ventures, Walk, Don't Run. Look at those tight-waisted, high-waisted pants. Classic.
That's a good look.
Walk, Don't Run, sold for $600 US. Heritage Auctions. I don't like Heritage Auctions. I don't like them as a company. And then you've got a Beatles autograph for 40,000 US. 40,000 US.
That's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, I can't even get a good focus on that one. But that's a few other things. And one thing that I bought at the grocery store checkout line, I had to.
How much is a Mad magazine these days?
Well, this is the greatest. These are all the movie spoofs.
Oh.
You know,
it still
Jaws.
have the back cover you can fold into a...
Dude. Yeah, the Mad Folding, baby.
Oh, my day is complete.
There you go. $18.
Whoa.
Yeah, Whoa is right. We've done a little bit of kibitzing. Barry from Minnesota went to see a band called Cardinal Black that I had been following for years. I saw him at the Royal Albert warming up for Frampton. They came to Minnesota. Barry went to see him, said he is beyond happy that he saw him. He sent me a picture of him and the lead singer. He said the nicest guy in the world. We should have gone to Nashville to see him, but that's by the by. So Barry Fire sent that, and a guy named Jim, who's buddies with Carrie and Lenny, you know Jim, was telling me the other day that, hey, don't cut your podcast off at 30 minutes. If you guys are rolling, keep rolling, because sometimes you just go and stop.
No, we can. Oh, and first of all, advice from a listener.
Bingo, Daddy-O.
And what did Barry say? He learned something new every time.
Every time he listens to Click and Clack. That's us.
Love that.
So we're going to push pause. We are going to go get our libations without ice in the glass. And we are going to grab our listener, or our interviewee, and we're going to get back online. You good, Gare?
I'm good.
Okay. Bear with us, people. I'm going to hit pause. Okay. Thank you. Where's pause? There's a new software. Pause. Gare.
Yes.
We've got Al.
Dude, I mean, I've been so excited about this for weeks. And
wow.
And I originally reached out to Al and then went complete radio silence because our technician guy was trying to figure out how to do this. Thank you. Because I would have never been able to figure this out.
Yeah, well.
And I'm sure there was a couple F-bombs trying to figure it out.
Never.
No, there'll be a few today.
Don't get me booted off of YouTube. So we plan on getting this on YouTube.
Yes.
Because that's where we're going to find a lot of people. So, Al, real quick, Gare and I started doing this about 3 years ago, 3.5. We've done about 70 of them. We laugh our ass off. We talk music. We don't even dive into politics, which is freaking brilliant. And
absolutely
everything that keeps you happy, which is pretty much music. So you are our third interview, Gary from Firebird Records.
Bob Lopp.
Oh, Bob Lopp. I forgot him.
Matt Smith.
And then John Rutherford.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Professional musician. So just a quick history. Gary and I grew up all within 2 miles of each other. Went to the same high school, graduated back when Reagan was in his first term. And
nicely put.
Well, I don't think we've seen Al
probably since one of the reunions. I've been back to Grosse Pointe, but I don't remember.
No, I went to 10, I went to 30, and I boycotted him after that.
I went to 10.
Okay.
Oh, no, I went to 20.
I didn't go to 20. So the last time I saw you was at 10.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. I saw you at 20 then. Or, 10.
Yeah.
10 or 20 here.
10 or 20.
10 or 20.
Scottish, Irish.
Whatever. Okay. We've known Al for a long time. We knew he was into music. He had his finger on the pulse of new stuff, Detroit.
You really did.
And what really was interesting was the fact that when we were, sophomore, juniors, seniors, it wasn't the hardcore punk. It was the Flock of Seagulls. It was ABC. Yep. It was Duran Duran. B-52s, Duran Duran.
Yeah.
And
all the homogenized alternative.
Yeah. But I hate to say it, nowadays I can still listen to it.
Yeah,
true.
That's good stuff.
I
hated most of it then, and now I find myself listening. I'm like, oh yeah, that was pretty good. Missing Persons. I'm like, yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to throw something out to you.
Spandau Ballet is not so bad.
Hey, Shrews a good album. But here's what I really think. I couldn't stand Genesis back when we were in high school. I actually like Duke right now. I kind of like it.
Well, that's
Genesis
better.
is one of those bands I try to like, and I still don't like them.
Yeah.
Prog, I feel like I've been open and passionate even about almost every genre of music except the prog stuff. Court of the Crimson King, I love that album. That's the one King Crimson album.
Yeah. I can't get through it.
Yeah.
No. I can throw some yes.
Yeah, I can't do it, man.
It's like, when is this song over?
Yeah.
Dude, Sunday Supper on Genesis Foxtrot at 20 minutes? What's wrong with that, man?
Genesis, you're running through the forest with gnomes and court gestures. And
Yeah. Be careful of the hedgerow, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we digress here, which is okay. Al, since we're talking about you, tell us. We started a text thread going back and forth, and you were slaying Gary and I with your stuff.
You were on fire, dude.
It was.
Yeah, you woke the beast. Like there's all these memories. I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah. No, so you mentioned punk rock and Endless Summer. Just tell us about that, because I used to go out to Endless Summer on the bus with Coletti.
Yeah. I've taken a few buses to Endless Summer. So I moved to Grosse Pointe in just before 8th grade started. I came from Chicago. New kid in town. School hasn't quite started. Don't know anybody. My dad had just started at WDIV, and this guy, John Baker, was one of the producers at DIV. He had also just moved there from DC, and he had a kid my age, Brian. So Brian and I met immediately after I moved to Grosse Pointe, and he was my first and for a minute only friend. And then he went to Liggett, but he lived right over by Brownell, right off, like literally a block from Brownell.
Did you beat on him?
Huh?
Did you beat on him?
Get my beat on my only friend.
Yeah, touche.
Got to be nice to this one kid for a while, at least.
Right.
Yeah. So we got to be really good friends, and he was really into music. He was an incredible guitarist. He was a little prodigy. In fact, that same year, he ended up, and I was supposed to go, and I was out of town. Somehow through the Mirrors, like Billy Muir or one of the Mirrors.
Oh, yeah.
Santana was in town, and they ended up rehearsing at Punch and Judy, which I think the Muir family had something to do with. And
Chip told us this story a little bit. Yeah.
And they got invited to go backstage, and Brian ended up, he was noodling around with a guitar backstage, little 12-year-old kid. He looked like Oliver from the Brady Bunch, and I mean, literally, that's what he looked like. And I guess Carlos Santana was impressed enough that he brought him out at Cobo Hall to let him play lead.
Really?
No way.
12 years old. Yeah. So this guy was a good guitarist. So he and I, we were friends, and we were both really into music. And I mean, that's pretty much what we did. But we skateboarded, listened to music, went to Endless Summer a lot. I remember he had a Dogtown. I was very jealous.
What was your board?
My first board before I started discovering skate parks was a GNS Fiberflex.
Sure.
With some big ass red Sims wheels.
Nice,
then I got a
nice and bowing.
Yeah. But then I got a Sims big wide board. The Christian Hosoi was Indy trucks and Kryptonites, and felt like I was in the game.
Right.
So I went to Endless Summer a lot. I was a terrible skater.
Same.
And I have a fear of heights. I hurt myself all the time.
and I'm allergic to cement, so none of it works.
Yeah. So I was going to the park a lot with Brian. Neither of us were into punk rock specifically. We were definitely starting to get into new wave. I remember we were both kind of geeking out on the Knack. That first Knack album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. We all did.
And but the stuff I remember he and I being really into was like Some Girls was a huge album for us. And Live at Budokan.
Some Girls?
Yeah.
I think it's a little better than Exile, but that's just my humble opinion.
Wow, you keep saying that.
But it is great.
That.
It is one of that, Sticky, and Exile are my three favorite Stones albums. But yeah, I mean, I didn't get into punk rock with Brian, which is interesting given where that history wound up. He moved like the next year. But it's because of him that I met like Dean and Robbie and all those people, because that was his little Liggett crew. And he was in a band with Ramsey Gouda and someone else. I can't remember. He had a band, but they played like classic rock stuff.
Eddie would have been in it then.
Maybe. Yeah, I think so, actually. Yeah.
I think he would have been, yeah.
And I can't even remember what they were. I think was it Pegasus or was that was a later band? Was that it?
I think it was Pegasus.
Yeah.
Good. Dude, that's a good pull. That's a good pull.
So, but they would play like Liggett parties and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But I did go to the skate park with them a lot, and they weren't playing the hardcore there at the time that they would later play. I remember a lot of Boomtown Rats for some reason, and like Devo, stuff like that.
Love Boomtown Rats.
Yeah, me too.
Love them.
So that was maybe some of the first edgier
Yeah.
punk stuff that I started to hear. My introduction to punk, we were kind of talking about this before, but it was hard without. I didn't have an older sibling, right? So my musical discoveries were pretty much on my own or with friends, but it's all word of mouth or what you hear on the radio. And radio was super cool back then because my first experience with the radio was there were no genre stations, at least that I had found. I mean, you'd hear Aerosmith, and then you'd hear Stevie Wonder, and then maybe you'd hear Bob Seger and Marvin Gaye or the Spinners. I remember Rubber Band Man was like my first 45, and it was my favorite song. Okay,
I had that 45 too.
It was so good.
So good. But WABX was the shit.
Yeah, but it was Philadelphia, and I don't remember anything similar to ABX in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Because I'm talking like grade school. Like I got really into music. 4th grade was sort of like my watershed year where I discovered Kiss, and Kiss just changed everything for me.
Oh, yeah. Fifth grade is when I joined the Kiss Army. So
yeah, it was Kiss Army, belt buckles, t-shirts, had it all. Yeah. And Brian never liked Kiss. That was the one musical sticking point that we had. They annoyed him. So he moved back to DC after the first year in Grosse Pointe. So then I was at Brownell still, and I was really into rock magazines. That was another way that I found music. Cream and Circus were my two go-tos.
Circus. I had a subscription to Circus. Circus was great.
Yeah, and I still have all
my 1980s,
all my Cream magazines, man.
Dude, awesome.
Yeah. And plus the Cream tattoo.
Yeah, right, yeah. You're all in, Al.
I'm all in, man.
For those of us who are listening audio only, Al showed us a tattoo of the Boy Howdy logo from Cream magazine on his forearm. So
it's my first tattoo.
He's committed.
Very committed.
So Cream was where I was becoming aware of punk, even before I was a fan. They were covering stuff that you certainly weren't seeing in Rolling Stone, but it was mostly the New York stuff. The CBGB scene. I'm talking when I was in like 6th, 7th, going into 8th grade. There was a lot of stuff about the Ramones or Patti Smith or the Dead Boys, Dictator, all these bands. Television, yeah. That CBGB scene, certainly as opposed to the hardcore scene in Detroit and DC and LA and, the cities where they had the really vibrant hardcore scenes. The New York scene was very intellectual, artsy, and it seemed a little bit older. These people seemed like they were in their 20s, mid-20s, Tom Verlaine and those guys and Patti Smith and even the Ramones, they seemed older, except for like bands like the Ramones. I mean, these bands were, they emphasized the poetry and the intellectual background of the shit they were doing. And so I didn't really get that at 11, 12 years old. And I was intrigued by it because they looked cool. I didn't really get the music.
So Al, let me jump in here if I could. So somebody asked me the other day, I was at a graduation party for a friend's kid, and I have befriended a gentleman who has a very popular birthday in October. I won't say what day it is, but he is a very, very, very nice guy, and he loves stereos and he loves music. So I met his 80-year-old girlfriend, and Dom and I were talking music. She asked me, "Why music? What got you into it?" And listening to you, I think of what I did, which was I came home after school. You had 3 channels. Plus, you had Channel 50. That's it. So you had 4 channels on TV. It was all shite.
Channel 9 out of Windsor. Don't forget Channel 9.
Yeah. It was all shite, right? Yeah. I had the older brother. So I used to sneak up in his room, and I'd pull out Edgar Winter, Johnny Winter, George Thorogood, Rick Wakeman, Journey to the Center of the Earth. Just all this stuff. I mean, I had a library to go to, but we didn't have cell phones, video, all this
100%,
stuff.
Bob.
You sat there with a record and tried to figure out how could Led Zeppelin
Yeah.
be allowed to publish Houses of the Holy with naked kids on the front cover.
Yeah.
But I really
Yeah.
love the ocean, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
after you studied the album like a textbook for college, then you went to Circus and Cream magazine, and you saw another picture of Zeppelin, and then it was just you just were engulfed with nothing else to, you know. And I mean, look at the power of music. We're sitting with Al right now. We're all 12 years old again.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And the other thing was because, you know, there was no MTV, there was no internet, but I mean, even just getting a glimpse of these people was like a sacred thing, right? The image hadn't been degraded and cheapened by having been repeated, you know, in 5,000 different iterations.
Right. So I remember specifically 1978 and 1981 when the Stones came through. My older brother, who was 7 years older, and I remember specifically in 78, came home, get off the TV. I want to watch the news. And we're like, what the hell for? Stones were at Masonic.
Yeah.
Oh, 78.
Which,
wow.
I have a copy of that on CD, soundboard quality. It is choice.
Nice.
So that was our glimpse. You know, we didn't have Top of the Pops. We didn't have the Old Grey Whistle Test.
We had Midnight Special.
We had Midnight Special.
Don Kirshner's Rock Concert.
That's right.
Like, that's how I found T-Rex, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And, that's how I found Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Oh, yeah. I think I had a 45. I think I had Boogeyman. Is it? I'm your Boogie.
Yeah. Okay, so I just want to pull this back to Detroit a little bit.
Yeah.
So sophomore or junior year, you bump into somebody or you get into something, maybe through Endless Summer or through these magazines that push you into this Detroit punk scene.
Yeah, so it was earlier than that. It was still Brownell. Brownell's where I found The Clash, London Calling.
Yeah.
I remember riding my bike to Harmony House and getting it and coming back. And I was thinking about this because I knew this was going to be a question, like, what was your first punk record? I don't know how I found it. I have this weird feeling that it was Saturday Night Live, but I'm not totally sure. Because at that point, my big obsession had become the Doors. In 8th grade, I switched from Kiss to the Doors. I felt like I was a man now, and I can't listen to children's music, you know.
I have one whisker I need to shave. So
but the Doors was a big doorway to punk rock because they were an influence on a lot of the punk stuff, especially the CBGB 70s shit.
Really, I'm making the same face Bob is right now.
I mean, Iggy put the Stooges together because of the Morrison concert in Ann Arbor. He was blown away by Morrison's antics.
Wow.
So, but
the music isn't even close.
No, not really. Well, if it is, if you listen, like you see parallels in bands like Television, I think, and even probably the Talking Heads, stuff like that. But no, it's certainly not close to what became hardcore. But the Clash was my thing, and I became so obsessed with that record that I was still going to this summer camp back in Pennsylvania that I'd gone to as a kid. And 8th grade was my last year. And I took the record with me for some reason. There's no turntable. We're in the middle of fucking Poconos. But
What did you bring? I brought a record.
I just wanted it. I wanted it with me. It was so important to me. This record was, I had it in my trunk in this unair conditioned cabin. So at the end of the summer, I come home to play it. It's all warped.
Yeah.
But that was my first punk record. Kind of started getting into the Stooges and the MC5 in 8th and 9th grade. But I didn't associate them with punk rock.
No.
To me, that was just rock.
Yeah.
And the thing that got me into the hardcore thing, and this was probably, I think this was 80 or 81. I went to the Punch and Judy, and I don't even know why, and I don't even remember who I was with, but I went and saw The Decline of Western Civilization.
Oh.
And I was just like,
what?
I was actually scared. I'm like, this is like, I just remember that opening sequence with they were interviewing these like little punk kids who all looked about my age, maybe a little bit older. And I remember that one guy named Eugene. And I'm like, this dude's messed up. What is this music?
Are these people real?
Yeah.
Those movies, I can't even sit through them because the people are imbeciles. And the rock and roll one, which is what? The Decline of Heavy Metal or whatever it was.
The Decline of Western Civilization too. And there's a Detroit band in there, Seduces in there.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You and I went to Seduce at Harpo's.
We did.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were like, "Hey Bob, let's go see Seduce." I'm like, "What are
Yeah.
they?" "Oh, they're
Yeah.
just hard rock." "Oh, okay."
It's like, yeah, they were doing like a kind of a glam metal hard rock. Yeah, they were good. They were good.
They were good. When Napster was going, I downloaded some of their songs and I have them somewhere.
Yeah.
They're not
have
bad.
some vinyl somewhere over there.
Okay.
Yeah, it was The Decline. So I went and saw that movie, and the next day I went up to Harmony House to see if they had any of these bands that I had seen, and of course they didn't really. But they were
no way.
They got me a copy of Damaged, Black Flag. So I just geeked out over that record. I mean, I played that thing to death.
Yeah.
And then I was writing for The Tower sophomore year at our school newspaper, and I did a review of it. I'm like, I'm going to review this record. And, you know.
Okay, so wait a minute. Some people probably won't know this, but Damaged is the first LP put out by Black Flag.
Yeah, because Jealous Again, I guess, is technically an EP.
EP.
Yeah.
So, and it was the first one with their fourth singer, Henry Rollins.
Yeah.
So which became their quintessential LP.
Yeah.
It's the one where it's black cover. They actually put duct tape on the back of a mirror, cracked it, and then he just put his hand into it with a bald head.
Yeah.
And that is how they got the cover. And you look at that cover, you're just like, aggression.
Oh yeah. The album scared me, you know.
Yeah.
But and that just.
Well, wait a minute, Al. Didn't you say the Black Sabbath album scared you too? Did all music scare you?
That scared me. Yeah. But I was like,
you were scared a lot.
I was like, well, not scared like I mean, scared like intellectually, emotionally, but not like, you know,
scared yet challenged at the same time. I got to go buy that. Yeah.
You know, scared the way like the night before or the day you know you're gonna have sex for the first time. You're scared, but you're like, I'm in.
I still want to do this, but
yeah, but I'm scared.
You plan that?
Yeah, well, no. I didn't plan most of these records either, but
okay, good segue back in. Thank you.
So Black Flag was the first. So I write this review for the Tower, and crickets, right? Nobody gives a shit about that record.
Which is the high school newspaper.
Yeah. And I didn't know anybody else that was interested in this record at all. I had become pretty good friends with Kevin Monroe. He'll be important in a second. He and I became friends freshman year, and we were both into a lot of the same music. He wasn't really into punk as far as I knew. He turned out to have kind of a similar trajectory to me, and that's when we really started to bond over the punk stuff. But
wasn't his dad a classical conductor or something?
Yeah, well, his dad was the first chair flute player for the symphony.
Thank you. So I knew it was something classical. Okay.
So he had grown up in Detroit, and then when his parents divorced, he moved to Grosse Pointe with his mom. So he started freshman year was his first year in Grosse Pointe, and we got kicked out of math class freshman year together. Not together for separate things, but we both got kicked out, and we're sitting in the hallway like they made you do, and we just started talking about music, and then we're like, hey, let's go to lunch, and then so that's how I met him. Yeah, so Black Flag, I write this review, and then like a few days later, this bald dude, that looks like every guy I'd just seen in that movie, Decline of Western Civilization, who I'd never seen at South, and he went to South, Pete Zaleski. He was older than me, a couple of years.
Yeah.
He rolls into the Tower office during the journalism class, asks for me, and I'm like, oh shit, what's going on?
It's one of those scary people.
Yeah. And he walks up and he hands me, I got one of these is the one he gave me because it's test pressing. This thing's Process of Elimination EP, right? And it was like the first release by the bands that made up the core of the Detroit hardcore scene, and he was in Negative Approach. He was the first bass player for Negative Approach. He and John Brannon, and a guy named Zuhair, and blanking out now. I think Rob McCulloch might have.
What are the bands on that?
It's Necros.
Yeah,
sure.
Meatmen, Negative Approach, Youth Patrol, Toxic Reasons, Violent Apathy, McDonald's, and the Fix. Not the Fix.
Meatmen. Yeah. There's a good one from the past.
So he said, he's like, hey, I saw you reviewed Black Flag. I want you to check out my band. And he's like, we're Negative Approach. Take that thing home. And I'm like, wow, like this is simultaneously not very good and the best thing I've ever heard, and because the production value is not great, and the songs are all like 50, 60 seconds, and they are so fast, faster than anything on that Damaged album. I mean, just fast, that Midwestern hardcore fast, So, and then he also told me that, coincidentally enough, after that Black Flag review, that they were playing in Detroit. And I'm like, what? This LA band,
Flag was playing?
Black Flag, yeah.
Okay.
So it was the first tour with Henry. So I wanted to go. I didn't have a driver's license at that point. I convinced Sam Fuqua. I don't know if you remember that guy, but he was the other music guy at the Tower. He was older than me. So he and I, we drove down to Clutch Cargo's City Club. Well, it was Clutch Cargo's at the time, down in off of Woodward, crappy area. This was 80s Detroit, not a pretty place.
Oh boy.
And it was scary scene. I'm like, there's a bunch of wacky looking people just all standing up front because it was summer. There's but there were a lot of people skateboarding. That's the first thing I remember. Like, because I had not really skated much since Brian moved back to DC. So I saw Black Flag and Necros opened up.
So was that the Damaged? Were they touring off the Damaged album?
Damaged, yeah, they were touring for Damaged. So I want to say this was 81 or 82. I can't quite remember. And this is where the story. I don't remember if it was that show or the next show I went to, because there were a bunch of flyers there, and there were also fanzines. There was a thing called Touch and Go fanzine, which was just like a little homemade, stapled together, mimeograph thing.
Sure.
And that really became my Bible for for hardcore.
Where'd you pick those up?
They were there at the shows. People would have them, right?
Okay.
And I think you could get them. Eventually, I found you could get them at places like Off the Record or Sam's Jams, places like that, where the kids would just come by and so I would become aware of what bands were playing because I'd just grab a bunch of flyers. And I think the next show I saw was just a couple weeks later was Killing Joke.
Oh,
and,
nice.
Also at Clutch Cargo's. For that show, there was a band called L7 that was opening up, and not the L7 that is famous, but the Detroit L7 that was Larissa's band, Larissa Slarchik's band, who went on. She was John Brannon's girlfriend, John from Negative Approach, and then they both formed the Hyenas together later, which became like my.
Real quick, Gary and I saw Negative Approach 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So Fear comes through town. I saw him literally almost 30 years later to the day.
Yeah.
It's the Stools, first band, Negative Approach, and then Lee Ving comes out with a perfect backup band.
Yeah.
Nobody's original except for Lee.
Yeah.
I hate to say this. I didn't understand Negative Approach at all.
I have to agree with Bob.
It was so harsh.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do.
Yeah. It's, it was my favorite. They were my favorite Detroit band. Them and the Necros for sure. But it's stuff like, now I can't listen to it, but for like, 14, 15, 16-year-old Al, it was just like, it was just this onslaught. And then the physicality of it, the mosh pit, they didn't call it a mosh pit then, but just the pit, I mean, you're just stage diving, you're climbing over people and it looks,
the teenage angst we all had at 14, 15, let's just go break something,
So it was at that, I think it was the Killing Joke show, but it might have been that Black Flag show, but there was a kid skateboarding around, he had orange hair, and he was skateboarding around this burned out ice cream truck that was just parked there in front of the club. And I was standing there, like, not knowing anybody. I was by myself and waiting to go in. And he kept coming up really close to me and staring at me. And I'm like, what does this kid want, And then I recognized him. I'm like, Brian? And he's like, Al? We were like, holy crap. Because this is, he moved. This is before internet. Eighth graders don't write letters to each other. So I just lost touch with him, I mean, maybe we had a phone call every once in a while. Like,
he wasn't
how you
your
doing?
pen pal?
Yeah. So I'm like, what the hell are you doing in Detroit? And he's like, oh, my band is playing tomorrow night. Well, his band turned out to be Minor Threat. So all of a sudden, because of that night, I'm hanging out with him and he knows everybody. He knew all the dudes from Negative Approach and Necros. And so I meet everybody
But this is the kid who played with Santana.
Yeah.
And now he's in Minor Threat.
Yeah. Well, now he's in Bad Religion, but he was in Minor Threat at the time. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Because of him, I met a lot of people. I met like Graham and Rob that night, and Opie, who were the other 3 of the 4 of Negative Approach, and they were the younger ones because they were my age. They were high school kids. John was older; he was already out of high school. I think he'd maybe 1 year out of high school. He had his scene, and then Opie and Graham and Rob and those guys had like they were part of this skater scene, and that's kind of how I got reintroduced to Endless Summer. I hadn't improved as a skater, but I was like hanging out with really good skaters. These guys were good. So I started hanging out at the park a lot more, and I started hanging out with these guys a lot more. And I just got kind of embraced by the scene. So then I could go to any show and not be worried. And I had friends, and they would come to Grosse Pointe a lot, and we would just do these epic late night street skate sessions. They'd park in my driveway, and we would just, this guy Bill Danforth was living just a couple blocks from me, and he was one of the only other punk rock kids I knew in Detroit. I'd see him at all the shows, and he was, probably the best skater in Michigan. And so all of a sudden I'm in this little tribe that was just like I said, I've been into all kinds of musical genres, but this was the first time where it felt like it was more than just music. It was like a community, and I think it was largely a function of typical teenage angst and insecurity and confusion. It just provided a place for me to let that out, because Grosse Pointe was super weird for me, like really weird. I've lived in a lot of places. My dad, because of his job, moved around a lot, and Grosse Pointe was the first place I moved where there was like this old money thing and like the whole country club, yacht club scene, and I had friends in that world, but I didn't ever feel like I belonged in it. I mean, my family was sort of from the same socioeconomic status, but it was like this whole different vibe, and I was part of it, but I never felt like I really belonged in it.
Right, but I wonder too if sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I did.
Yeah.
It's like my kids. Hey, let's I don't know, let's build a car. No, I don't want to. So what are you doing at your friend's house? I'm building a car.
Yeah.
So it's just not to do it with me, or it's just pushback. So
Al, after all this, were you ever in a band yourself? Did you ever pick up an instrument? Did you ever?
So Kevin,
did you ever buy a used guitar from Coletti?
No, I had a guitar. My great uncle actually left me his 55 Gibson Les Paul Custom.
Oh, fudge.
Wow.
Okay. I hope you still have it.
I still have it. Yeah.
Good man.
Wow.
Good man. And I hope you have that secured.
Yes.
It is secure. It is a climate-controlled environment. But it wasn't secured then. So I was using that thing. I was in a band with Kevin Monroe. I don't even remember what we were called. We played down at his dad's house in Indian Village in the basement. I don't know if you remember a guy named Jim Zavell, but he was our bassist.
You're kidding.
No. And
wow, I'm looking at Bob right now. I'm looking at Al right now. I'm looking at Bob. We're gonna have to take that. We're gonna have to take that offline. But go ahead, Al.
Okay, all right. And it was just for fun, We didn't play. I think maybe we played a Indian Village party once or twice, and we did get a gig at the Coronation Tavern in Windsor. I remember when we were going across the border, they saw the drums and they said, "Oh, you're coming over here to work." I mean, we're like 16. And so they wanted us to post some kind of bond, like I don't remember what it was. We didn't have it, so we had to turn around. We had to turn around and go back. So that was my only punk rock band. I was in Goober and the Peas later for about 2 months.
Okay.
I'm on their first. I'm on their first EP single from the drummer.
Nice.
But that was way later. That was 90s or 80s.
So junior and senior year.
Yeah.
You're into this family now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listening to stuff. So what's coming out in 82 and 83?
So the stuff that I was really into, I mean, I felt like I was at shows every weekend. It felt like there was something going on, between Clutch Cargoes or the Freezer or Clubhouse or Falcon Lounge or a Cobb's Corner. I mean, there was all these tracks. Tracks maybe was a little bit later. Nunzio's Bookies.
What did your parents say about this?
I don't think they were a fan of the music, but they never questioned it, or they never.
But again, no internet, no nothing. Hey, what's the scene like? Oh, it's fine, Mom. I'll be fine. Are you safe down there? Oh, I'm fine, Mom.
Yeah.
Nothing to worry about.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I remember when my mom passed away in '89. There were a lot of the punk rock people, they came to my house for the wake, whatever you call it. And I remember
that must have been a scene.
Yeah, that was a scene. But I remember one of them saying, your mom was always the coolest because here we are, all these freaky ass kids, and she always just like, do you guys want some sandwiches? Or like she'd bringing us drinks, and she's like, she was so nice to us, and they weren't used to that. Well,
so nice, I will say this, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up your skirt, but you had so many people because of your dad's job in Detroit.
Yeah.
She knew everybody. She's met a million people. I'd knock on your side door. Hi, Bob. How are you?
Yeah.
And I'm like the nicest lady in the world.
Yeah.
Both your parents.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
So yeah, they weren't opposed to the punk rock thing. I don't think they certainly didn't understand it. And I don't think they had any idea where I was sometimes in some of those places, like down in the Cass Quarter, skateboarding around the Cass Quarter at 11, 12 at night.
Well, my kid's doing that right now on a scooter. There's the scooter jam is this weekend.
Yeah.
So they go like from the Fisher Building down to the Ambassador Bridge, and they've got 100 kids doing it. It's actually pretty cool. Let's get this to what I want to brush a couple brushes with greatness. Does this situation that you've gotten yourself into get you in front of the boys in Black Flag or Jello or whoever?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hung out with a lot of bands. I mean, so I was really good friends with pretty much all the Detroit bands, and they usually opened for these bigger bands.
That would come through, sure.
Yeah, so I met Black Flag several times. I mean, I wouldn't say we were friends or anything, but hung out quite a bit. Actually, the Dead Kennedys is a band I never saw. I never got to see them.
Really? So they put out probably 5 years ago. They re-released Fresh Fruit on vinyl in a blah blah blah. I bought it. Had to have it. Overnighted it. It's still sitting down in the stairs in the cellophane. I haven't even played it.
Yeah.
But that's an album you can play even today.
Yeah, no, there's some like the Bad Brains. I can still listen to them. They were probably my favorite band to see live. Honestly, was the Bad Brains. Minor Threat, I loved, not just because Brian was in the band. I just loved Minor Threat. Like I said, Negative Approach, Necros.
But if you go back to that Clash album, London Calling, I didn't grab it until 1982, so I was 2 years behind the curve. Because that's when Kent introduced me to a bunch of stuff like some Depeche Mode and the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band and the Clash and the B-52s and all that stuff. I found in my brother's collection, going back to that statement earlier, I found that he had London Calling. It never left my room after that.
No,
ever.
It's
great album.
It's still one of my top 3 albums of all time.
Yeah, to this day, that is, and I'll be honest with you, the song I like the least on it is London Calling.
Yeah.
I like every other song.
Big statement from the guy who doesn't like Exile. Okay, yeah. We'll move on.
Dodge out.
Yeah.
But where's what? So Bad Brains, did you see him in DC or did you see him in Detroit or where?
I did see him in DC, but I saw him in Detroit. The last time I saw him, they played a place called Todd's.
Yeah. I was there one time.
Yeah. Todd's had this big like Thursday night dance party. It's kind of like a new wave party, but all the punk kids went. Like, and so I had a little crew that I hung out with every Thursday there.
I went there one time. I think it was on a Thursday night too. It was
that was the big night.
Yeah, it was pretty damn fun. I saw Flag at Tracks, so Tommy and I went down there to see them because it was 84.
Yeah, I think that was the first Hyenas show I think they opened for. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they opened for him.
Pat, the Irish kid that we know, Pat said, "Hey, you want to go see Black Flag? Never heard of them. Well, let's go." So we went down to the Madison.
Yeah.
And we were walking into the Madison. So it's an old Detroit classic theater.
Yeah.
That's just been run down. Because again, to your point, it's 1984.
Yep.
Detroit. And let's not even go there. I walk in, and the warm-up band is Tom Tricoli's Dog.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that's Greg Ginn from Black Flag on bass, Tom Tricoli on guitar. And I was listening to that. I was like, my jaw hit the ground.
Yeah.
What the hell is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved it. And then Flag comes out because this is a Slip It In tour.
Yeah. So was Kira playing bass then?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, for Slip It In she was. And I love the Slip It In album. I really do. I was blown away. Then they came through and went to Tracks. So Tommy and I cruised up there in that little Garrett. Do you remember that little two-seater Fiat he had?
The one that he tried to sell me? That one? And I said, nah, Tommy, I think I'm good. But look, it's a convertible. It's a piece of shit, Tom. I'm good.
It was terrible. So Tommy and I went up there for that. That's 7 in Gratiot. That is not the neighborhood you want to be in as a cracker.
No, not even today. No.
Yeah.
And dude, and I felt like every other weekend in high school, I was in a neighborhood like that. And like I said, and we were skateboarding around. I mean, we were stupid, but that's what it was.
So one of my favorite stories, it was summertime and I'm dressed in your quintessential neighborhood
Nantucket Reds.
I was wearing I was wearing yellow shorts,
Yeah.
the blue and red striped belt,
Yeah.
A striped LL Bean,
because that's what you wear when you're going to a punk
right?
show.
And we pull up in front of a house on University. You know the guy's house. You're there, and you walked up to me and you said, "Hey, Black Flag's playing tonight." Yeah, I know. They're at Greystone. Yeah, you want to go? Yeah, let's go. Now, I don't know if you and I drove together or not.
I think we did. Actually.
Okay.
Of course, I feel like there were a lot of people in the car. Didn't other people go?
I don't recall, but Tommy was going from work there, and
Casey
I was going to meet him.
there, I think. But we don't say names, that's right.
Yeah.
Just Casey.
We might have had other people in the car.
Yeah.
In my uniform,
Yeah.
I stood in the back the whole time. I couldn't hide any
But
deeper.
Al, you sent us that clip where you're in your Madras shorts, whatever, right up in the front.
No, I was in jeans, but I was in the Brooks Brothers Madras shirt. I remember.
Oh, shirt.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
You
that
didn't
was,
stick out at all, Al. No, not at all.
No. That was like 80. That was like 81.
So that show at Greystone was 86. That was the Process of Weeding Out tour.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, 86 was that was a big watershed moment in not just Detroit, but in the hardcore scene in general. I mean, that's when things started to change. Negative Approach broke up in 85, maybe 84, 85. And some of the dudes, like the ones that I hung out with the most, because I knew John, but he was older and he scared me, frankly, because he's just an intense dude.
Yeah.
And
I get that from his music.
But I knew him and Larissa. I had been to his place when he used to have an apartment in the it wasn't really an apartment. I feel like it was more of a squat, but he had a place at Clutch Cargo's at the City Club there. And sometimes people would hang out there before a show. But 86 or so, the band, the hardcore thing started to fall apart a little bit. I mean, there are a number of reasons. One, people were listening to different stuff. I think the main issue is that these guys had been doing it long enough that they could play their instruments now. And they didn't want to just keep doing this stuff that was boring to them. So they were getting like, so Opie, called him Opie because he looked like Opie from Andy Griffith. Chris and Rob and Graham and Bud, who had been in a band called the Allied, they started Crosswire, and which was a completely different type of band. I mean, it was more like influenced by like REM, Waterboys, U2.
I have 2 Crosswire songs thanks to Napster. They're damn good.
They are. They were good.
They are damn good.
Yeah. So I saw them a lot. In fact, they came and stayed with me a couple times when I was in college, and I got them shows down there. But John and Larissa started the Laughing Hyenas, because both of them had become really enamored of the Birthday Party, Nick Cave, the Birthday Party. Mm-hmm. And so they wanted to take it in bands like the Gun Club. And so they
Gun
were
Club, nice,
going in a different direction. And then Kevin, who was one of my best friends, his girlfriend at the time was really tight with them. And I could be wrong about this. I don't know how he got in the band, but he got in the band. He was going to be the guitar player. And then John and Larissa had this idea that, well, we know that this is our band, and we don't know if you guys are serious or not, but if you guys quit, the guitar is going to be a pretty dominant sound, right?
Sure.
So our identity is going to be more tied up with who our guitarist is than who our bass player is. So they asked Kevin to play bass, and Larissa basically learned how to play guitar, which is funny because she was just picked by Rolling Stone as one of the, I think, 200 best guitarists ever.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Those Rolling Stone lists of guitarists.
I know, they're ridiculous.
They're shite.
I think Taylor Swift was in the top 10 or something.
Yeah.
So the Hyenas started. Kevin was playing bass. And
what year is this, though?
I want to say this is 84. Pretty sure it was 84.
Okay.
The first time I saw them was, I think, their very first show was at Joe's Star Lounge in Ann Arbor, and they opened for Destroy All Monsters, which was Ron Ashton and what's the MC5? Yeah, and who was in it? Was
Fred Sonic Smith?
No, but it was because I think the Sonic Rendezvous band was still going around. But it was one of the dudes from the MC5. It was
there was Mike Davis,
Michael Dennis.
Mike Davis, Dennis Machine Gun Thompson,
Gordon Dennis. It was
Wayne
the
Kramer, and Sonic, and
might have been Michael
Tyner.
Dennis, but it was definitely Ron Ashton. So I saw them, Hyenas open up for them, and they weren't very good. They didn't have a lot of songs. They were kind of figuring out their instruments and kind of figuring out their sound. They just became one of those bands that every time I saw them, which was all the time, they just got better and better and better and just more ferocious. And eventually they signed to Touch and Go Records. And Touch and Go Records was really, really pivotal. I mean, obviously the vehicle for all the early Detroit hardcore bands, it was a label kind of started out of it.
Was it local?
Yeah, it was it was the fanzine and a label, but because they put I think they put out I don't know if Touch and Go put out theirs or just Corey Rusk. Yeah, this was Touch and Go. It was Corey Rusk and Tesco B from the Meatmen, and then Corey took it over. They released like most of the cool early Detroit bands, but then he moved the label to Chicago, and that's when bands like Scratch Acid from Austin, that's David Yau's band, who they sort of turned into the Jesus Lizard, and Butthole Surfers,
Texas,
Big Black, Killdozer, DeKreutzen. This became that Touch and Go, the farms.
Stable.
Yeah. And Greystone, Corey was running the Greystone. In fact, he and Lisa lived upstairs, and they would do these things, just these touch and go. I think they called them touch and go road shows. It'd be like 6 or 7 bands. It'd be like the Hyenas and the Buttholes, Scratch Acid and Killdozer, DeKreutzen. And those shows were just incredible, absolutely incredible, because you're just there for hours, listening to bands that were just very, very different, but all had this ferocious intensity.
It sounds sweaty.
Yeah.
When you all that punk for hours and hours.
Yeah. In an unair conditioned space. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I think those type of tours are fantastic because Gary and I went to see one. Little Steven's Underground Garage did it. 3 local bands, 3 national bands. Everyone uses the same back line except for probably the headliner. Yeah. And you have 20 minutes between bands, 15 minutes. I don't know. I think it's freaking brilliant. So one thing that I do want to throw out is I was looking through, I don't know, it might have been Record Collector magazine, and they were talking about how our local label here, Third Man Records, is going to re-release, and Third Man Records is Jack White's label. Mm-hmm. They've got a little pressing plant here. They've got a place in Nashville, and they've got one in London. As a matter of fact, they're gonna re-release the catalog from the Hyenas, which I find amazing.
Yeah, and a book just came out, and then there was a big spread in the new Cream magazine. So Hyenas are getting a little much deserved
a little love,
late love.
They
were one of the, I think, and I say this without John and Kevin and Larissa and Jim, they were really my closest friends in the music biz, especially Kevin and Larissa. I mean, we were all super tight, and I got actually interviewed for that book because I have a whole bunch of, Larissa passed away 15 years ago, I think. I don't even know. And so, they wanted her voice in the book. So I was one of the people I guess they interviewed to capture that voice, since I had all these letters, because she was a really prolific letter writer. But the Hyenas, everybody looked up to them as an influence, because Butch Vig was their producer, and that's why Nirvana wanted Butch Vig, because of the Hyenas.
So where did he come from then? What city did
he's Wisconsin. He was Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
That's where Smart Studios is. His.
So one quick question: you go to university. Does anything change? You graduate. Does anything change? You're now the same age as I am. Yeah. Has anything changed? Well, you know what I mean. It's we were For those of you who don't have video, Al just took his hat off and he looks like Gare. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing.
But I shaved my head in high school, so I guess it's not that different.
Well, Al, I've been waiting to tell that story. Yeah. So we were sitting over, no last names. We were at Greg's house on Kenwood, and you had just done that, I believe, for the first time, and you came over, and we were all like, "Whoa!" And then we were sitting out by the pool in the back. And you're like, I don't know why I just did this. I'm really not feeling this. And it's like, dude, you shaved your head.
Well, because it was my head was burning. I remember. I'm like, I gotta put.
But you
So-
walked in the backyard, and we were
Yeah.
all like, "Whoa!"
So
Yeah.
I did it once on a bet after
Yeah.
a night at Rustics, and the next weekend I went down to some parties at Wayne State. I'm going to say his name. I don't know where he is anymore. Brian Carrion, who was a year older than us,
Yeah.
was bald also because we both did it the same night. He was doing something stupid, pouring beer on me. They were actually coming up to us and politely saying, "Excuse me, sir, could you please, be nicer, calmer?" And all that?
Yeah.
Because I had no hair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a scare tactic.
Yeah, he's either dangerous or he has cancer. like,
Right.
either way, we got to be nice to him.
Which we think is contagious.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's my question. So when we were talking earlier before I hit the record button, the music that we couldn't stand back then, we can listen to now. I went to Wyandotte Records, which
Mhm.
actually was a good record store back then. And that's where I bought Fudge Tunnels, Hate Songs in E minor.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also bought the Butthole Surfers and
yeah.
Flipper, the
Flipper.
generic album.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember. Yeah.
So I would have been in, it might have been 84. So I might have been my first year out of high school.
Mm.
Flipper is dirgy, just grr, grr.
Mhm.
And if you want to clear a party out, play the Butthole Surfers, the
Yeah.
Shaw Sleeps in Lee Harvey's grave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Because that will do it. I've pulled out Flipper and tried to go through Sex Bomb, which is 7.5 minutes of the lyrics, Sex Bomb, baby, my baby, oh yeah. Sex Bomb, over and over.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah. No, I don't listen. Just knowing that this thing that we're doing was coming up, I did kind of like go back, and I didn't even pull the vinyl out. I just did it on Spotify and listened to some Minor Threat and Black Flag. I still appreciate the hell out of it, and it was one of the most important periods of my life and some of the most important music of my life. Did we lose Gary?
We did lose Gary. Well, keep going. He'll come back.
I can't enjoy listening to it anymore. I don't have that same,
There he is.
There are just hormonal changes. Your body doesn't respond to that music because it was a physical response back then. It was just like you just
But I can play almost any Black Flag album still.
Absolutely.
I can play any Buzzcocks album, which had your German influence in there and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I love the Buzzcocks. That Dead Kennedys Fresh Fruit album it's timeless.
The stuff I listen to now is more like the Birthday Party, Nick Cave, the Gun Club, Joy Division. Play that Television album quite a bit. Patti Smith.
Mm-hmm.
But the hardcore stuff,
isn't the
Bad Brains, I still listen to.
Isn't the Birthday Party George Best?
No, it's Nick Cave's band.
Oh yeah.
Mick Harvey, Roland Howard.
Yeah, I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah. So they were amazing. I mean, they were truly a phenomenal band. I've seen Nick Cave many, many times, and he's obviously now he's kind of taken on that almost like that Leonard Cohen mantle. It's a completely different sound.
Oh. Okay.
And more power to him. I still love it. But yeah, I don't know. The hardcore stuff, I have been listening to the Hyenas again lately just because that book and everything got me thinking about them. And I can still get into that. They were a live experience. I mean, it was just obviously too young to have seen the Stooges. All I did see the
revamped
Stooges
version?
Like, 2001 or 2, or I can't remember.
Yeah.
I imagine it's what people experienced, back at the Grande Ballroom.
Yeah. What was the last concert you saw, Gary?
Like ever? I mean, not punk rock or just any concert.
Just any concert.
Any.
Yachtly Crew.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
How was that? How was that?
It was phenomenal. Yeah. It was just these guys that dress up like Commodores of a yacht club, and they just play all the yacht rock classics that you either love or hate. I love them.
Funny. That's funny.
Before that, it was a few months before that. It was a guy who's actually a Michigan guy from Flint named Whitey Morgan. He does like outlaw country stuff. Whitey Morgan and the 78s, and you guys should check him out. It's kind of in that Waylon tradition.
Nice.
In fact, I happened to be wearing a Burners t-shirt, and I was walking back, and he was out on the loading dock, and he's like, "Yo, Burners!" And I look at him, he's like,
"All right."
Funny.
So, do you still talk to Kevin?
I talk to Kevin all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell him our podcast duo says hello. Haven't seen him probably in 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sean, that
John
was a
talked to
blast.
him. Yeah. So he was in Fate Unknown, which was another important band back then. In the early hardcore days.
Such a nice guy.
Yeah.
I mean, when you made a great point. We started hanging with him. I did when I'd go to MSU.
Yeah.
And I'd always say, hey, mention guitar or whatever. And he'd just smile. Oh, there's Bob again.
Yeah. No,
Nice
he
guy.
was like when I was in high school, I felt like I had really two very, very distinct lives. I'd be down in the Cass on a Friday, and then Saturday night I'm at Splashdown at the Yacht Club or something, right? And so I had these two radically distinct friend groups, and sometimes they would.
Wait a minute!
combine.
Did you take the pin out of your nose to go to the Splashdown?
I never pierced anything.
The paper clip earring.
Yeah.
But then at some point when I was in college, I go to visit Sean in Lansing, and he's like friends with Chip and you guys. I'm like,
yeah,
that happened. My world's just collided.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Please tell him we said hello also.
I will.
Okay, so my last concert, I can't even tell you what it was, but I've got Molly Tuttle, James, Pulp, and I can't remember the last one. Those are my three that are coming up.
Well, Al, I sent you that from Dinosaur Jr., where Necros.
Yeah.
The guys from Necros came out.
Yeah.
That was kind of wild. And then Pixies was my last show with Jim, we won't mention last name, Zavell.
The original bass player.
Interesting.
The original bass player.
His you know what his nickname was? And I don't even know why. It was kind of a joke, and it stuck. And he even signed my yearbook with his name, Hisser.
I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was his band name.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah.
Listen, Al, this has been
It's been a
effing
hoot.
hilarious.
Yeah, it's been fun,
Absolutely hilarious. I am going to. Is there any way I can get online any Hyenas?
It's all on Spotify.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
And
going to check it out.
some good live videos. There's one called there's a little YouTube series called it's something like Detroit Punks. I think it's just called Detroit Punks, and they do it's just like a little mini bio. They're about an hour long, so they're not many. But they did a really good one on John Brannon.
Okay.
Nice.
It's definitely worth checking out. And there's a thing in there for the Hyenas, and it's just called Al's Basement Tape, because I recorded like an hour and a half of their shit in their basement when they were rehearsing once, and that's really good stuff. I was surprised at the quality of that stuff. But there's a CBGB show that they did, I think in 89 or 90. It's really good. I think the full show is on YouTube. I've seen
Okay,
it.
we'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
There's the big CBGB's concert they're doing the end of next month in New York.
Yeah.
Iggy's playing, Jack White.
Yeah.
Who's the New York punk band?
Oh, that narrows it down, Gare.
No,
What era?
begins with a
Sonic?
C.
Cro-Mags?
Cro-Mags. Cro-Mags are playing.
Yeah.
Cro-Mags, Jack White, Iggy.
Yeah. Wow.
Whole bunch of bands. Yeah, and I think it's September 27th in New York.
Didn't they close the place down?
2006. They
Yeah.
shut her down.
And
And I never made it in there. I've told Bob this story. I was with my brother-in-law, and they had the annex next door, and we saw some shitty keyboard player. So I walked next door. The girls there. I'm like, can I just take a look around real quick? She's like, yeah, knock yourself out. The place is the size of a postage stamp.
Yeah.
And went in, looked at the shitty bathroom, which everyone always talked about, and it looked terrible. And then
they didn't change the
smelled
bathroom.
it smelled like bleach. It smelled like a college bar, bleach and
Ugh.
just sweat.
Yeah.
And but my buddy, it turned into a John Barbados, and he was there recently.
That's the story I was about to tell you, but yeah.
Yep, and they've left a lot of the stuff on the walls.
Yeah.
So you can still see where some of the, and he took some pictures. It was Matt Smith, actually, Bob. You sent me some pictures.
Oh, yeah.
And
I was in New York about 10 years ago with my girlfriend and her kids, and we just come back from Bermuda, and we were staying kind of down in the Bowery area, which now is all gentrified, and we were in this boutique hotel that would not have existed back.
Dude, ever since the Hells Angels left, it hasn't been the same.
Yeah. But I wanted to take Eli over to see CBGB's because he's super into music, and I knew it wasn't there, but I just wanted him to show in the building. But I didn't know there was anything there, and there was that John Barbados store. So we went in, and I'm like, yeah, this is where the bar was, and like the bathrooms, they're not as bad as they were, but they've kept all the graffiti and everything else. So I was looking through the t-shirt rack, and there was a lot of the shirts, the merchandise in general, and then the posters that they had up there was a lot of Detroit stuff. Stooges,
Alice
MC5,
Cooper.
Alice
Yeah.
Cooper. And so I asked the woman behind the counter, I said, what's with the Detroit theme? Like, it seems like it's, and the shirts were like $300 for a Stooges t-shirt. It was silly. But she's like, oh, John Varvatos is from, I didn't know he was from Detroit.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so,
he is.
Oh, I
so the
didn't know that
bank,
either.
it was either Chase or Bank of America was trying to buy that whole block. And that's why Hilly couldn't keep the place, because the rent just kept going ape shit. And so he had to sell it. They were going to tear it down. And Varvatos said, absolutely not. You're not tearing down CBGBs. I will.
Oh, good on him.
I will buy it just to
Nice.
keep it there and turn it into a boutique. So
Well, they were supposed to
Yeah.
reopen it in Vegas.
Yeah.
They took a lot of the fixtures and all the bar
Yeah.
and all that, and I don't know if it's just sitting in a warehouse or what,
Yeah.
but that was
well,
one
they
of
have
the
that Punk Rock
rumors.
Museum in Vegas now, and I think it's
Yeah,
there. Like,
yeah.
But,
Do they
Our-
really?
Our Irish
Yeah.
friend,
I
who we
haven't
don't
been,
say
but
last
yeah.
names, Pat went to it.
Yeah.
Pat, and said it's really cool.
That's what I've
You
heard.
know,
That's what I've
And
heard.
when they,
Yeah.
and when Gare, so we got to go when they open up the Evil Knievel Museum. We'll go do both.
God, you don't have to ask me twice. Evil Knievel Museum? You kidding me?
Go.
Oh, Evil Knievel, I'm feeling another tattoo.
Well, listen, Al, we'll pay for that tattoo if we actually make any
Yes,
money doing
yes.
this shit. Okay.
We don't have any money in our
Yeah.
corporate fund, but we'll find some for that tattoo.
Yeah.
No, because I had to pay $19 for this subscription to this video service. Al, please don't make it 30 more years before I
Yeah.
see you again, because
I'm
this
going
has
to try to
just
get
been
back
too
to Detroit
funny.
actually this fall. So,
Okay.
we will.
Let us know. Maybe we'll sit,
yeah.
maybe we'll sit down with 3 microphones in front of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're just
let's
two
do it
turntables
again.
and a microphone.
Al, there's so much
Yeah.
we didn't hit on that we need to do
Yeah.
another one with you. And
Yeah.
this has been a hoot, buddy. It really
Yeah,
has.
dude, I love this, man.
Yeah, good.
It's
Thank
nice
you.
little stroll through the memory banks.
Yeah. And do me a favor.
Yeah.
Don't close your screen. Let it upload.
Correct.
Okay.
Just walk
Okay.
away.
Just
Okay, about how
walk
long
away.
you think?
It'll tell you.
3
Okay.
days.
All right.
72 hours.
So, all
All
right.
right,
Well,
Al.
great,
Hey,
great catching up, brother.
I appreciate this, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys, and looking forward to seeing the final product.